Break it on down. Break it on down. Break it on down. All right. Episode number 6.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Welcome to the
we're making it
importance
work.
of
Making it work.
the credit game.
Yes.
Is it risky business? All right. So
Yes.
we're just going to jump right into it like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last episode, when we were talking about your credit health and your relationship with your credit, one of the things that we brought up was how you can use your credit to start a business. A lot of people don't recommend this because if it fails, you go into debt. But I personally say if it was a quiz, we would all be drunk.
Yeah.
So um, if you have dedication, if you have the drive, if you are generally a successful minded, driven person, positivity, glass half full, know how to get up and dust yourself off when, things kind of like hit the bricks. If that's you, then this wouldn't be scary for you because you're going to work it out and make it pop no matter what, right?
Right. Right.
All right, so let's talk about a couple of people who actually did pop it and made it work. Um, Max Levchin, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk.
Mm.
PayPal.
Yeah.
All right, so PayPal, an online payments platform, was co-founded by these three guys, amongst others, and they use their personal credit cards and credit lines to cover the early expenses and the development costs.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually building PayPal into a major player in the digital payment system industry. PayPal was later acquired by eBay for $1.5 billion.
Wow.
All right. Another one, Kevin Plank. In 1996, Kevin Plank founded Under Armour, a sports apparel and equipment company. To fund the initial cost of starting the business, Plank maxed out his personal credit cards, accumulating over $40,000 in debt. His risk paid off, though, and Under Armour has since grown into a multi-billion-dollar company.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Chesky and Joe Gibbia. In 2008, Brian and Joe founded Airbnb, a platform that allows people to rent out their homes or rooms of travelers. The founders accumulated tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt to fund the early stages of the business. And today, Airbnb is a global company valued at tens of billions of dollars. Can I just say that two of these companies have trash ass customer service?
Yeah, they do.
So let's also think about the pitfalls of scaling too quickly. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Woodman from GoPro. Nick Woodman was the founder of GoPro, a company that produces action cameras and accessories and used credit to fund his business in the early stages. He relied on his personal credit cards to purchase the inventory and the equipment, eventually turning GoPro into a multi-billion-dollar company.
Nice.
Common thing here is that all these guys were men, but we do have a lady that rounds us out. Sarah Blake
Really.
founded Spanx, a women's shapewear and apparel company in 2000. Blakely used $5,000 of her savings and took on credit card to cover the initial cost of creating her product. Her gamble paid off, and Spanx has since grown into a highly successful global brand, making Blakely a self-made millionaire. Excuse
Wow.
me, billionaire. My bad. Put some
Wow.
on your name, Sarah. So Sarah's a billionaire. All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Code and the Coins. Today we are going
Yeah.
to talk about how credit can be used as a powerful tool for you to be able to build wealth. So last episode we were talking about how you can establish credit, and actually we didn't get into establishing credit. We talked about
We
people
didn't. You're
back.
right.
We talked about reestablishing credit and what to do to fix your credit if it is bad. In this
Yes.
episode, we are going to cover, I guess we can do an overview really quickly of how to establish credit if you haven't done so, which is kind of really no credit and bad credit are pretty much tantamount to the same things. It's easier to pull yourself out of no credit than it is with bad credit because you're simultaneously combating, the bad stuff that's already there. But the main focus of this episode is just to really touch on how you're going to leverage the credit. Because a lot of people say, if I can't afford it with the cash I got, then I don't need it. But
Exactly.
generally, unless you have some very rigid rigid boundaries and behaviors with spending money, you're going to pretty much stay at the level that you're at.
Yeah.
There's no room, there's not much room for growth.
Yes.
You're not leveraging something.
Right.
Leverage is important. Okay, so a good credit score is pretty much like a financial passport. You got good credit, you can go wherever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, we always talk about racial financial disparities when it comes to the financial literacy, it's because that's the reason why this entire podcast exists, so that we can level the playing field by
Mm-hmm.
racial and gender inequities.
Yes.
All right. Allowing you various opportunities that can help you build wealth. It's vital to understand that credit isn't just a number,
Right.
but a reflection of your financial behavioral responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So if your credit is bad, it basically tells people that you're not financially responsible. At some point in time, you said, fuck that bill.
Right. Right.
you know, um, and if you have a habit of doing that, then people will not want to give you money.
At
Have
all.
you noticed that, like, even now, utility companies will run soft credit checks and
Yes.
will require you to deposit, to
Mm-hmm.
make deposits, security deposits, in order for you to be able to retain services from them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're past the age of thinking like, oh, as long as I can just afford it in cash, then I don't need anything else. I can just totally live off the grid. You
Right.
may be good, but you're not training your family to be able to be fiscally responsible,
Right.
for it. And you're doing a disservice to the generations that are going to come behind you, because this game isn't going to go away,
Yeah.
right? Literally, the credit game is never going to go away.
Right.
It is the part of the founding institution.
Yeah.
So until we learn the importance of playing the credit game and how to do it properly, we're always going to be a step behind. So let's
Mm-hmm.
get into this century, this industry, this financial literacy.
Yes. Yes. Let's get it going.
All right. So, building credit. Before I jump into all of my notes, building credit. The first thing that you want to do to establish yourself with good credit. There's this little pocket called, in the credit world, from Experian. It's called Credit Boost. Now, if you are a fiscally responsible person and you just probably don't have credit, maybe you didn't have someone that was able to add you as an authorized user, maybe the people in your life that you know were not fiscally responsible enough to establish their own credit, or maybe you're just learning about credit. You've never had a credit card, you ain't tore your stuff off, you haven't had any issues. If you do pay your bills on time, your cell phone bill, your utility bills, your rent, if you log into Experian.com and you set up your account, I believe it's like $24.95. I'll make sure to put a link in this comments wherever it's posted. We'll either get the link up on YouTube or Facebook, so that you guys can have that information. If you go to Experian and you sign up for Credit Boost, it will instantly give you a credit score when it imports your good history of payments. And there are
Mm.
a wealth of utilities that are available. Oh my God, these allergies are gonna, woo!
Okay.
Yeah,
The
it's
pollen out here is
it's
ridiculous.
listen. It is
Bless you.
humid as heck. It's humid as heck outside. It
Yeah.
was cold earlier, so I had this heater on, and it's
Yeah.
definitely taking some of the moisture out the air. It's a little dry in here.
Exactly.
So, where was it? Where was we at, baby?
Shoot, I forgot to. Thank you. Damn. Oh, the credit boost with Experian.
Experian. Okay. So if you put yourself into the Experian boost, it's automatically going to give you a boost in your score. So that will give you a jump on credit.
Yes.
I also recommend that you can do if you don't want to pay huge interest rates, you can check out either the secured credit lines, and or you can go into a credit union and get a credit line from them. If you don't have any credit, avoid the subprime credit card offers at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even Capital One will give you a below 25% interest rate.
Yeah.
Okay. With no credit. So Capital One is a pretty good, they're not excellent judges of character, but
Child, when it came to me, they were like, nope. Oh, okay. Huh.
They'll pretty much give anyone a very small credit limit. They'll give you enough to hang yourself. They'll start you off with $500 to $800, $1,000. I believe when I was 18, I got my first Capital One credit card. It was like $1,200 limit.
Hmm.
So They're pretty. They're oh no, it was 2,000. My bon time. So it was $2,000 for my Capital One. So they're pretty.
Yeah.
But I will say I had my car note. My dad bought me. Well, he paid the down payment. He paid half of my car off when I graduated. So I
Nice.
paid. So he left me with a car note. And a lot of people are like, well, why wouldn't your dad just buy the car for you and leave you with the car note? The car note was to help me to establish credit
Yes.
and to teach me responsibility because it wasn't my first car, but it was my first car note.
Yes.
Let's just say that. So
Yes.
my dad, we went to the lot and he put half down for what the car cost, and then I drove off the lot. And I remember it was a Ford Focus. It was orange. I love that car.
Mm.
It was a stick. Was insistent. I wanted to make it a stick. I don't know why. It was just something
Wow.
in my head at the time. I was really big on stick cars. I used to
Yeah.
race. I was
Oh,
so yeah.
okay.
Um,
'Cause I can't drive a stick, so
I had a $200 car note.
wow.
Yep. And I had to pay that car note every month. It was $200. And my insurance, I was on my grandparents' insurance, so I didn't have to pay my insurance. But yep,
See,
that.
people look at me crazy with my car note. It's 318 in today's economy.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Mm-mm.
That's
It's
not.
not, but it is when you're a contract worker.
Hmm. I'll show you.
So
We're gonna talk about how I actually do want to get into that
yeah.
because for people who have to figure out how to pay their bills, I'm gonna show you a very slick way for you to get out of thinking that it's hard for you to be able to make those notes. And I'm gonna talk
Baby,
about.
don't play with me. Look, deliver me. Okay.
Yes,
Just look.
I'm gonna deliver you. I'm gonna break this down for y'all. Okay, so
Yeah.
now, so establishing the credit. So you can go and get yourself a median APR. And by median APR, if you don't have any credit, I'm thinking anywhere between 15 to 22% is about on average. Anything higher than the 23%, you're kind of getting into subprime territory. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more money for you to be able to build that credit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also you have a little bit more wiggle room. After you make your first couple of payments on time, you can call them up and be like, "Hey, listen, check this out. It's been 6 months and I've made all my payments on time. Can we renegotiate my APR?"
Really?
Oh yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna have to call them though to find out, like, hey, what's my pay history with y'all? You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well, you
Because
can look at your credit report and it'll tell you what your pay history is.
true.
As long as you ain't got no reds within the last 6 months, then you would actually be good to go.
Right. And what most people don't know too with your credit, with your car, as long as it stays under 60 days, you got to keep it under 60 days. Because
Absolutely.
even if it goes a day over 60 days, they can come snatch it up. Keep it under 60 days, especially if you're like me and you like, okay, I have all of my income coming from here, here, and here,
We
and
gonna
then it stops.
we not taking B advice, y'all. We gonna keep it under
But
30 days because we don't want to get no reports. We gonna
no,
get B after 60 days. We're not taking that advice. Hold on.
no, I'm just saying that's for the people that just can't do it. If that's your last resort, people, let me correct myself.
Thank
That
you.
would be your last resort.
We'll take the
And
last.
then when it's your last resort, fix it so that way you can still, have a good rapport.
Well, we're gonna teach them. I'm gonna tell y'all exactly how you can change the dynamic and shift your mind from
Mm-hmm.
having that to be your last resort. Okay,
Okay.
so we talk about how you can build credit, get your experience boost. You definitely want to go and pick up with the credit unions because again, they're going to value your membership,
Yeah.
and you're going to get a higher return on your investment when you're dealing with the small fish, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not because your money is little. I'm not belittling your money because I still, to this day, not saying I got a ton of money. Don't come rob me, but
Right.
but but the liquidity that I have is still very much more appreciated in smaller banks than it would
Yes.
be. You would just be you're just a number at Wells Fargo. You're just a number at Bank of America. They piss you off. You tell them you're closing your account. They're gonna tell you, okay, come in, and they're gonna give you a cashier's check and send you on your damn way. You
And
know what I
they
mean?
are not gonna care. Mm-mm.
Especially if you don't have that banking relationship with someone that's physically in the branch, right?
Right.
Corporate
Right.
turnovers are too much for me to trust my money with some people that they hiring and firing.
That part. That part.
That's not my desiring.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about what type of doors having good credit can open up for you. So a lot of people don't even realize, but you can get better interest rates on your loans. You can qualify for a mortgage, and even it impacts your ability to rent. If you
Mm-hmm.
have back in the day, you used to be able to go and get you an apartment, and it really didn't make a difference if you had a bad credit score. But it's easier for you to buy a house with a bad credit score than it is for you to rent.
Yeah.
To get a mortgage, to get qualified for a mortgage, your credit score has to be a 580.
Yes.
Rent, on average, people want 600 minimum. I've seen pick places that won't rent to you unless you have a 650. And remember, the average median credit score for Black Americans is 677, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that what we said it
That's
was?
what you said. Yeah.
Okay. So if the average Black American has a credit score of 677, there are tons of people that are below that. We can't get into places.
Yeah.
That's not, that doesn't behoove us. That's not going to help
Mm-mm.
us.
Mm-mm.
Um, with that being said, ooh, I just lost my train of thought. They go edit
Oh,
that.
Lord.
um, it affects your ability to be able to rent. Not
Mm-hmm.
having stable housing is one of the first qualifiers for you to not be able to obtain anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, if housing is an issue for you, housing and food are like the two basic commodities that we need in order for us just to operate at a bare level at a
Right.
minimum. So if you're housing insecure or if you're food insecure, I can definitely understand where none of this is going to make sense for you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but not being able to rent an apartment is a luxury because, as we talked about before, it's cheaper to rent than it is to buy.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, a good credit score is ah, the first step to establishing a solid credit history involves paying your bills on time and keeping your credit utilization low and being mindful. Okay. Of your credit inquiries. So you don't want too many people. You don't want to alert to too many people that you're applying for credit at one time because
Yeah.
that makes you look like an unstable lend.
Yes.
So if you're going to buy a car, buy your house before you buy your car.
Yes.
Car lots are notorious. I will say that when I went to go and buy my car, my credit score took a huge hit. Right
Of
now, I have
course.
the credit because my parents had put me on as authorized users. I've been an
Mm-hmm.
authorized user on my dad's American Express since I was a teenager, and I was on my grandparents' stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I was able. That's also probably why I was able to credit qualify for higher credit lines at such a young age. But by the time I jumped out the box at 18, I had
Right.
been establishing credit since I was 14.
Yeah.
When we were in Partners in Success for American Express, that's one of the first things they told our parents: if you've got good credit, put your kids on your credit cards. And my
Yeah.
parents did it,
Yeah.
so I was able to establish. I was a step ahead, and
Yeah.
something I definitely always recommend. If you want to do a favor for your children and you are fiscally responsible, put them on their credit cards. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to do it as early as 14. My grandparents were non-able-bodied people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on all of their accounts so that I could go in and actually, like help pay the bills for them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As I got older, I was also an authorized user so that I can go and do the shopping because now my grandmother could tell me to go down to JCPenney's because they having a white sale. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
Wants me to pick up sheets and towels and
Yeah.
whatever it may be. So that was how I stepped into the credit space.
Right.
Um, And because of that, when it was time for me to get my own credit, my interest rates were significantly lower and my credit approvals were significantly higher than that of my peers.
Yeah.
Um, Real estate investments are another way for you to be able to build generational wealth. Um,
Yes.
Hopefully, we're outside of the days where people want to sell grandma's house,
No,
right?
we're not. Not in Louisiana.
But
We're not.
your credit score will determine your eligibility for a mortgage, right? So if
Absolutely.
you can afford to buy a home, a lot of people don't realize that home ownership is really affordable. There are home ownership programs that will put you into spaces that will save you just as much as rent is,
Yes.
particularly in high income areas. It's cheaper to own than it is to rent.
Yes.
Me owning a house in California was significantly cheaper than me renting.
Mm-hmm.
My mortgage in California was $3,500. My rent was $5,000.
Jesus Christ. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Um, the average mortgage out here in Oklahoma is about $1,200 to $1,800.
Mm-hmm.
My rent is $1,800.
But see, you're in a big space. right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. So ours is like 1,000, maybe 1,000 for our townhouse. On average, it's gonna be like 1,089.
See, now if I was a single person, I do like nicer dwellings, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would think that I probably still would round out at about $1,200 with being a single person because of the amenities. Also, keeping in mind, if I was a single person, I probably would choose condo living as opposed to home living
Mm-hmm.
because you get your gym built in, you got your pool, you sauna, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
those would be the types of amenities that I would like to have, and I wouldn't mind sharing them if I was a single person.
Yes,
But when you have a family,
it's different.
it's different. Oh, I can't wait to, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
It's definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
Being able, so one of the reasons why we relocated was so that we could break into the real estate market into at a lower price point.
Yes,
That same $1 million home that we were going to buy out there translated into a few houses out here.
yes.
So now it's not just one home that we have; it's four.
Mm-hmm.
So that automatically increases. So if you buy, so $1 million, right? If you buy four houses at 200,000, you still have 200,000 left over, right? So
Yeah,
each one of those houses you buy at 200,000 appreciates by $100,000.
yeah,
Now my portfolio is significantly better. I can go back,
exactly.
I can refinance, I can take that money out. Now I can go buy some more houses.
Mm-hmm.
This is how this is a way for you to be able to create wealth. So now I went from four houses to eight houses. I've got five children. I'm gonna give a house to each one of my children, and now I got three houses. Refinance on three of those houses. Go back and let's go get some more houses. You do this enough times, and not only do you not have to work, but your children don't have to work.
Exactly.
Now, and when I say work, let me be specific. We're not creating nepotism. They're not going to sit on their asses and not do absolutely anything, but you change the trajectory from them being workers to them being bosses.
Right.
Now they own a
Right.
home. They own a home free and clear, and they have a stream of income from an additional home.
That's
And you,
it.
and you keep on flipping it. Generational wealth. And who says you have to pay $200,000 for the house, baby? You could go and get tax deed loans.
Yeah.
So
Yes, you
it's
can. Yeah.
various different ways. I mean, I can't break it all down in such, in short form. So number three, business opportunities. If you're an entrepreneur and you have good credit, it will help you to be able to secure the funding for your business ventures and then give you the capital that you need to be able to grow and expand,
Yes.
ultimately increasing your wealth. So now we're not talking about side hustles, right?
No.
You can't go and get a loan and pimp out being an Uber driver. There's the only thing that you can do is buy yourself a nicer car. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
structured, ethical businesses that are
Right.
going to be able to produce capital and um, increase your equity, right?
Okay.
So the accounting business. When I first started, it was just bookkeeping. I,
Really?
yeah, I was just bookkeeping. And I started it in 2001, and it was just a side business for me to make a couple of extra dollars. So I had two clients, and I would just do all of their QuickBooks on the side,
Mm-hmm.
on the evenings and on the weekends, and it was an additional $2,000.
Nice.
So
Nice.
you know what I mean? And even back then, I was still charging $1,000 a month, and I
Mhm.
had, my boyfriend would help me, and he'd be like, "Hey, calling off what the whatchamacallits was, and
Yeah.
I'm doing the debits, the credits, the journal entries, and all of that good stuff."
Yeah.
And it was liquid assets, liquid money for us to be able
Yeah.
to just to go outside, and that was our, "Hey, let's go hang out and kick it."
Right. Right.
So, ladies, don't let these men tell you that they're not investing because they is. That
They
man
are.
helped me build that. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely,
They
definitely,
are.
definitely.
Mm-mm.
I'd have been a totally different person if that man. Cheers.
Right. Lord, leave that one for the other one. For the other one.
I'd have still. I would probably still have been in corporate America, but that
Yeah.
was that was just a spark. He was like, "You're making $17 an hour to do it for them when you can be charging somebody else $25 an hour and doing it for yourself."
Hello.
And I
I
was like,
mean,
You know what? You're right." And I placed the ad on Craigslist, $20 an hour for a bookkeeper.
mm-hmm.
That was my first client. I did that for 3 months, and then my second client came along, and I was like, $25 an hour.
Well, because don't think I'm not beneath it. Like, listen, I'm finna post this right here.
So, business opportunities. If you have a viable and marketable skill that you can flip into an asset or an equity, then you definitely want to go and get the loan. Again, structured business. If you don't go get a loan and don't know what your books are.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go get a loan and be too cheap to either learn bookkeeping or have a good bookkeeper or an
Mm-hmm.
accounting or an accountant. You know what I mean? And a lot of people miss this step and they don't think that it's a big deal. But
Right.
if you're conducting business properly, definitely start off and do it on your own.
Yeah.
But within 6 to 8 months, your numbers should be telling you what your next move is supposed to be. And if
Mm-hmm.
your numbers are not talking to you, you're not doing business right.
Right. That's right. No, you're correct.
Because your numbers will tell you what your trends are. What are your most popular products or services? When is your highest season? When do
Mm-hmm.
people tend to buy? Do they buy most at the beginning of the month, the middle month, or the end of the month?
That
When should
part.
you run your sales? When should you actually do your promotions? If you've got inventory, when is it time for you to switch from FIFO to LIFO?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a full picture of what your business is, then you're not operating a business, you're operating a hustle, and don't go get a loan until you know what your business numbers are.
That
Please. Thank
part.
you. All right, so that's my disclaimer for the day.
Yeah.
But if you have that viable skill and you can flip that business, then that will be able to give you generational income. And let me explain how. I was doing bookkeeping in 2001. In 2005, I quit my job and I went full time because I wanted to take care of my son. Peyton
Mm-hmm.
is now 18 years old. Okay. He
Yeah.
has made the elective decision that he does not want to continue with college, but he is going to, in fact, take some business classes. Once he is done with his business and his coding classes, Peyton has a nonprofit that is already set up for him to run to take over my legacy for TNB Tax and Associates. So once he graduates from that course, I won't be doing taxes anymore. He will.
Right. And that's smart.
So that business is going to be handed off to him. And this was always the plan all along. I knew I wasn't going to be doing taxes for 20 years, but I did need to make sure that the business was going in intact in order for him to qualify for what he needs in order for him to hand it off. So he
Right.
gets the house, he gets the business, you get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
he gets to go on and continue with that dream. Now, if it was something that he didn't want to do because you can't force someone into a particular line of business, then it would just
Mm-hmm.
operate without him.
Yeah.
Well, it will operate in spite of him, I would say, not
Right.
about him, because he would still have to sit on the board. You know what I mean? He would
Mm-hmm.
still have to have some level of input because, again, it is his fiscal responsibility. Um, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And aside from the business, so each one of my children is set up and structured to receive a business and a nonprofit that funds the business. But
Okay.
that's a mind blowing conversation for another day.
Nothing wrong with it. Nah. You always
Um,
got to get them set up.
Always got to get them set up.
Yep.
It's very important that we change the narrative of how the children behind us are supposed to work, because I definitely I was thrust face first into a very passive aggressive corporate experience.
Yes.
My grandparents and my parents experienced a very aggressive work experience. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
wow.
So it's not to say that it's not getting better. I mean, well, shit, my grandpa picked cotton.
Yeah. You told
You
me.
know, he picked cotton. He was the child of someone who was enslaved.
Mm-hmm. I remember you telling me that.
So,
Okay.
um, so in it's also why I became an accountant. He told me, he was like, "Girl, that's what you finna do."
Exactly.
In the spirit of respecting the elders, the purpose of how we're supposed to live our lives and be gracious, and send our accolades back to our ancestors is in the improvement for how to move forward. And you just got to make
Exactly.
sure that you're structuring it correctly. One of the other things that I told you that kind of had you messed up on the last episode was credit card rewards. All right. So if we're going
Yeah.
to go ahead and get into debt, many of the credit cards, they offer cashbacks, points, or miles that can save you money on the everyday expenses that you're using in your business. So
Yes.
if you know that you have to fly a lot, one of the things that I definitely appreciate with the business and my bi-coastal move is that now I have so many partners in different states, we got to move around.
Yeah.
Come down to Louisiana. We got to go to North Cackalack. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
Mm-hmm.
have to continuously go back and forth to California to take care of the businesses over there. I don't have to pay for airline tickets because I eat too much.
Well, I
You know what I mean?
mean,
So you want to make sure that the extensions of debt that you are involved in are going to make sense for your business needs.
exactly.
So if you know you fly a lot, then your credit card needs to be with Delta, boo.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
part.
I know I'm going to make the bulk of my rewards with my restaurants. So again, you have to know exactly what your numbers are, and you have to know how to exploit the system. Playing the credit game.
Yes.
Yes, it's not checkers.
No.
It's not checkers. All right.
Know how to move.
All right, so those are some great strategies, but we basically want to jump into how our listeners can ensure that they're managing their credit wisely. So, here are a few tips.
Get it.
Okay, so it's pretty much of the same of what we've been saying this entire time. Pay your bills on time. That's number one.
Yeah.
If you can't pay your bills on time, make sure that you're making the proper arrangements so that you're not falling behind. You can
Right.
lose 20 to 30 points from having a late hit. And it takes you
Yes.
a full 3 to 6 months to
To
recover for
rebuild it.
a late payment.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like to tell people, especially when they're coming under me to get their credit fixed, time is the only thing that's really going to heal these wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're
I can
correct.
go in and I can remove erroneous accounts, right?
Yes.
Accounts that shouldn't be there, I can take those off. But if you got 6 months of late payments, it's going to take 12 months of good payments to turn that around.
Yeah.
Your financial trends that are the same in your business are the same on your credit report.
Yes, they are.
I'm going to give you money. Your credit report is your financial trend.
Yes.
What's your track record in paying people back? If I trust you with this money, what's my return on my investment?
Right. Right.
In order to command a low value for your borrowing, you have to be a high value risk.
Yes. Yes,
All
you
right?
do.
Or let me say that. In order to, y'all get what I'm saying. I'm calling you a high value person, but you can't be a high risk. I have to walk that back for a second.
Right.
Regularly monitoring your credit report. There's so many scams. Episode was that 3 or 4? In episode 4, we really broke out into the different types of scams and phishing that people get into in order to be able to pull your information from you and compromise your credit. You spend all this
Yes.
time, you got an 850 credit score, you got some money in the bank, and somebody on the dark web gets a hold of your stuff, and now your money is gone and your credit is trash.
Yep.
Lock
It can happen
those
to anybody.
Just like I told you in episode 4, lock those bank cards, especially if you're a tap to pay person and you've got that logo list on your bank card, lock it.
That part.
Okay.
Yep.
Make sure that your passwords are 100% secure, and make sure that you've got alerts set up on your credit report. If someone's applying for credit, you should be getting an email.
Mm-hmm. You should
My credit
be.
will ding my credit. And also one of the primary reasons why I like to keep my credit locked is because even when you have credit, they reserve the right. If you read the fine print when you sign up for credit cards or for loans, they reserve the right to go back and check your credit whenever they want to. And
Yes.
that inquiry can do a couple of things. It can change your interest rate. So sometimes it will have the benefit of taking your interest rate down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've had some misfortunes going on in your credit since you got that extension, it can take your interest rate up. It can take your credit limit down.
Yes, it can.
And it will take your it can affect your utilization. If they reduce your credit rate, your utilization is going to go up, your credit score is going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a hard inquiry, your credit score is going to go down.
Yes.
So locked. Yes, I highly, highly recommend that you keep your credit report locked at all times. All right. And avoid closing old accounts. You might have that old Navy card and you don't even use it that much, right? It's not something that you use often, but if you've had it for 20 years and you close it, guess what? You just lost 20 years of payment history.
Yeah.
Guess what's going down? Your credit score.
Mm-hmm. So do the best you can.
You also have to anticipate the end of a relationship. I very rarely hear people talking about this, but when you have had student loans on your credit report for 20 years, I just recently paid off my student loans, right? When I paid off my student loans, guess what happened? My credit score went down.
Oh, wait, but I've heard of that though. I've heard you should still at least have a small balance of some sort.
I lost 22 years of payment history.
Wow.
When you pay off your mortgage, your credit score goes down. When you pay off your car note and they close that account, your credit score goes down. So you have to anticipate these types of moves and be ready, be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Right. If you know that you're going to go and get another car before you make that last payment, go and get yourself into a new lease.
Okay.
Go and get yourself into, you know what I mean? So while that one's closing, It's going to go down a little bit, but now you've got a new established payment history. You want to make
Right.
sure it's kind of when it comes, so driving a stick, it's like driving a stick. You want to clutch
Yes.
the gas at the same time. So
Exactly.
you have that equilibrium going out. Um, and that's pretty much the gist of things. If you can leverage your credit properly, there is no limit to where you can take your family,
Mhm.
or just even yourself. I
Right.
speak from a family aspect, you know what I mean? Because I got a legacy that's coming behind me with children. But you could still be like Miss B and be the rich auntie that's just living her best life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it,
So
baby.
she ain't gonna donate it to charity. She giving that shit to my kid.
If you can see me, that's what's happening.
Just know that you want to make sure that if you are using your credit to be able to establish yourself, as long as you got the drive and you have the business plan and the aptitude, um, to get out there and really really hustle your butt and make yourself profitable, you're gonna be good to go.
Oh
But
yeah.
don't be out here playing. Don't play.
Yeah.
Don't play with your mortgage. Don't play with your credit, and
Yes.
don't play with your livelihood.
Exactly.
So take this information seriously. Don't take it with a grain of salt, and make sure that you do the proper researching and planning before you come outside with the business. Because, yes, you can go outside and you can get business credit, right? You can get business credit, and sometimes your business credit doesn't even have to affect what your personal credit is. But
Right.
you're still, contrary to what these people outside are telling you, you are still personally responsible for any type of debt that that LLC requires.
That
Don't
part.
think that you could just shut it down, go open another one, shut it down, go open another one.
Nope, because they're gonna find you.
They will find you, baby. I
It's
guar-
attached to you.
I guarantee it. All right.
Mhm.
So go in love, go in light, build, use your credit to leverage for your business, use your credit to leverage for your legacy, use your credit to leverage so that you can have something to pass on to the generations that are coming behind you. Um,
Absolutely.
this is wraps up season 6, and I'm not really sure what the next topic is going to be. What maybe we should let you guys vote. What do you think we should talk about next?
Ooh, yeah, that'll be fun.
Right?
Yes.
Let's open it up for vote and we'll see what we're going to come
Yeah.
back with. We'll release
You'll
the
get it.
next episode. We're going to take a little bit of a break and we'll get back to you guys in about a week or so. As always, it has been beautiful. It has been a plus. We love to be able to shine some light for you guys
Yes.
and give you guys as much info and deets. Let us know what you guys want to talk about, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.